The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here he is, Brandon.
Welcome back to the Brandon Peters Show. I hope you enjoyed my coverage of Doctoberfest 2024 last week on the program. I appreciate all the feedback I got from it. It was a fabulous weekend. Had a good time. But now on to this episode today, which includes We Live Entertainment and Out Now with Aaron and Abe's Aaron Neuwirth.
Hey, I'm not just here in the summer.
No, he comes back in the fall too. He does it all. How are you today?
I am very happy to be distracted recording this podcast.
Right. We're recording on Tuesday night, November the 5th. It's nothing but podcasting going on here.
Nothing but podcasting and Guy Fawkes masks. That's what I talk about.
Yeah. So we don't know what happens after. So yeah, we're just going to talk about this. So today we're going to get to the bottom of it and discuss the most Criterion Collection titles of all time. Not debatable after this episode at all.
That's how it is.
Before I explain what that is, I am not associated with Criterion Collection, and I'm doing this of my own fandom, interest, and volition. Aaron does review their 4K and Blu-ray titles for whysoblue.com, but that's like the extent of what we got going on here.
I fully intend to share this episode with them, by the way.
There we go. Very much so. I used to be associated with them back in the mid 2000s via Blu-ray and DVD testing. I said before on the show that I helped beta test the menus for Blu-ray when they were coming out. But mainly
with Godard.
Huh? Yeah.
With Godard, and he's like, well, not working anymore.
That son bitch. But yeah, as we record this episode too, it's November, which means all Criterion titles are 50% off at Barnes & Noble. So maybe this could be a guide as to what ones you should pick up, which also I have no association with Barnes & Noble. So this is just literally nerdy and passionate stuff from Aaron and I going on. Long been a fan of the Criterion Collection, but Aaron, best you can, putting you on the spot here. For someone unfamiliar, what does the Criterion Collection mean?
Criterion Collection is essentially a group of film enthusiasts that have come together to form a label that selects films that are unique in their own way for their genre, for their country, what have you, and has a certain sense of value that they feel they want to preserve in some manner, in this case being media. So you have a variety of films that help in the sense of film education, film history. So many of them obviously date back to, into the earlier 20th century and going forward, of course, there's plenty of modern titles as well. But essentially, much like the National Film Registry, it's films that have been deemed important, but as opposed to not that the collection doesn't have quote unquote more mainstream titles, but as opposed to having just kind of the standard classics one might expect, your Casablancas, your Gone with the Winds, it tries to focus more on not necessarily independent or art house films, although that certainly makes up a large portion of the collection, but films that just represent areas of film history that are important to recognize and keep within the culture, along with the more standard classics. I think that's a good summation of
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're a premier boutique label, and their titles are licensed from other studios and distributors. But when we're seeking out the most Criterion titles here, I want to get to the bottom of what ones have become the most associated with and attached to the label, where you can just expect it to be them, or even in some cases, it feels kind of odd if another studio puts it out. They have gone from the Laserdisc era up to the 4K Ultra HD era.
They skipped VHS though, right? There's never like a VHS
no
of Criterions.
So they're in a weird spot where things have kind of come full circle. They were doing some titles in the Laserdisc era that you wouldn't expect a label to get like a first run at, and it's because I just think studios were not as invested in the Laserdisc, whereas now studios are becoming less, not, I'm going to say less interested, but the devotion to physical media is gone. So they're getting back like titles like that were like, whoa, Criterion's putting this out, or like, your Shout Factory putting out Deer Hunter is always, that was like a pinnacle for me and Mark, where like Universal didn't think they'd want to put this out first and then let them do the second one. But yeah, Criterion for me has always meant like top notch presentation in both video and audio, as well as quality bonus features to go with it, with a nice packaging and stuff. That's kind of what, in generic terms, what it could mean to just a consumer.
And on top of getting the film itself, of course, like you just said, you're getting generally superior audio and video, but also a bevy of extra features that range from, it could be anything from retrospectives, interviews of filmmakers, archival interviews, short films, or entire
Visual essays. Yeah.
visual essays, feature-length documentaries, any number of things that kind of add to the experience of owning these specific movies.
Some have come with posters, some have come with booklet, well, they all come with booklets with that, those essays and stuff like that. But like, yeah, interesting things that have gone out. Like even just like random, like, well, he did a Q&A at such and such university and somebody recorded it on a mini DV or something back in such and such a year. That's those are the things that happen with it. And as a collector, it's a lover thing. They were kind of they were in around the time of Anchor Bay. Anchor Bay was kind of more doing the genre B movie stuff that was getting lost in the cracks due to studios going out of business and nobody having, like they picked up on Trancas Films International with Halloween 4 or 5 and the original, when I believe like Media, the company used to put out Halloween, and CBS Video or something put out CBS Fox Home Video, I think was what it was called, put out the Halloween 4 and 5 back in the day. Stuff like that. Evil Dead 2, and Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, just picking up those ones that were from defunct studios, and then Criterion doing the more a lot of international features, as well as classic films and stuff that got lost through the cracks. So
With that, with having things like Anchor Bay back in the day, and yes, obviously still Criterion and still Arrow and all these other ones.
yeah,
there's many films that I like. As you can tell, I have many Criterion films of my own.
mm-hmm.
There's not plenty, but there's a good number of films that I'm not even necessarily super fond of, but because of what they come with and what it represents as a brand, I feel more informed as just a lover of film by having some of these movies that are packed with certain certain sense of extras or what have you, that just get to be, that'll either appreciate the film or appreciate the process or the filmmaker or anything else that's surrounding that time frame of when it came out.
It's a film education on a disc right now. Like it used to be, well, it's always been a disc because they had Laserdisc. So it's like you should come out feeling more astute, knowing plenty about the film. And when they usually make up for it too, if they can't get to all those bonus features, they usually maybe add a film or do something else with that as well. And I think it's funny, like I was on my episode with Justin Beam, he mentioned coordinating a Scorsese interview to try to duplicate with like Criterion need him for something too, so they were gonna just like split costs. And he's like, man, he's like, she was telling me about stuff they do. It's like, I wish I had their budget, because so they put all in. They have bigger budget, and they're known. Like there used to be in the early days of Twitter, there was a thing going around where people made fake Criterion covers because that was a thing. People knew what those were. They would make movies that you wouldn't think would be Criterion or that look cool on Criterion as Criterion cover. There's a certain thing, and now they have the Criterion Closet, which those videos are starting to become popular beyond just your collector and whatnot. I see people who don't have any interest in home media watching those videos because certain celebrities appear in them. They like the banter. They like hearing them talk about film, and they're taking down the recommendations, which is awesome.
And the key to a lot of this is that it's fun to do. I mean, it's much, we're talking about the idea of like archival videos or what have you, researching the film history. I genuinely enjoy that kind of stuff as opposed to work. It's not, can it be vegetables just to like see certain things? You can describe it that way, but I very much like the fact that I have these criteria, that I have this access that I do.
Yeah, old movies are fun. They make them they make them fun again. They make them an event again. I look forward to the 15th of every month when I get an email that says, "Hey, here's what's coming out." Um, yeah, but so Aaron and I have compiled a list of 10 films each. We might have backups in case we cross over, which we might cross
Certainly
over
do.
on these. Um, so we're gonna go through those one by one, just kind of talk about everything with it. But Aaron, do you remember what your very first Criterion Collection title was that you
I
got?
do, and that's the first film that I have. If you want me to go for it, I mean, do
Mhm.
you set up this premise like you said, the most Criterion of
Oh,
Criterion?
so mine is not on my list.
Okay,
The first Criterion Collection I ever got was Chasing Amy on DVD. That film that never which beyond that because they started putting out yes,
not my first, but yes, I do have it.
that was the first one I ever got. And that's where I discovered the Criterion Collection. I was like, oh, and between that and the Mallrats Special Edition, I was like, man, this is like the best DVD's the best format of all time. Jeez.
It
Uh
it was certainly that was certainly an early one I had too, and it was like because there's a different kind of fun you're having watching the Chasing Amy on Criterion. So it's like, look at all
mhm.
these extras, but it seems so classy.
Yeah.
Like, like look at this cover. I know that's the
hmm
poster. Like everyone seems so, it doesn't evoke the mood of a Mallrats necessarily when you're looking at
It's
this.
like Jay and Silent Bob look
Yeah.
like dramatic indie actors with it.
Yeah.
Like so yeah, that was the first one I got. So I wanted to also follow up on something from the summer of 93 at 30.
Hey, that was on that.
Yes. We talked about a movie and said, "Oh, where's that in the Criterion Collection?" Dead Presidents was in the Criterion Collection on Laserdisc.
Yeah.
So it's no stranger to it. They just need to revamp that. Um, the final ever Laserdisc
Well, that's
also,
right. I mean, we talked about Menace to Society on the summer night.
yes, and that was also on Laserdisc as well.
That
It
at
skipped
least has crossed
DVD
over, but
and went
yeah.
to 4K. The final ever released Laserdisc for Criterion was 1998's Armageddon. And then there's a whole bevy of planned ones that never happened. And the funny thing is, I think because some of these Criterion titles, like your Silence of the Lambs and whatnot, hit Laserdisc, they skip what Silence didn't go on DVD, did it?
He
On
didn't go
Criterion?
DVD.
Because I think the studios invested heavily in DVD, so we're doing our own stuff. And then by the time we get to Blu-ray 4K, they're kind of checked out on that whole thing.
Since we're knocking some of these out, I just want to throw up that The Rock I have
Yes,
as well.
two Michael Bays are in the
Michael Bay.
Criterion.
I have the good one, so that's what keeps.
There you go. Okay, so
I'm
yeah,
sneaking in titles because I can't fit in everything I want to talk about.
and there are also filmmakers that like I picked one, but I kind of associate the filmmaker with the Criterion Collection, and we'll talk about that I'm sure through this. So without further ado, like let's go with you. Let's if you want to start with the first one you ever got, then
Yeah, sure. No,
that'll
I
work.
would.
Oh,
Just
good segue, good segue, because Scott's not here. We'll do nice segues.
yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, just to go over like because when you asked me about this, my immediate answer was yes because it sounds fun. But also, I was like, okay, let me not go into this room that has all these criterions. Let me just go to my computer, write down 10 titles that I think fit this. So I
hmm
did a top 10 list, and I'm like, this list rocks. This is great. Now, and then I was like, but what about these? And I added like 10 more films on top of that list. So I've
I had
narrowed
a
it.
big list, and then I small, and I was like, and I'll leave backups, and I'll throw is a process.
I have space for backups, of course, as well. And I'll just say right. Well, I don't want to in case we overlap. I'll point out things at the end if I need to.
Okay.
In case there's representation, I feel like we need to have so people don't yell at us. Why did you mention this movie? As if 1,000 movies is easy to cram into one episode. So anyway, my first pick that I have, the first Criterion that I ever got was, of course, Beastie Boys video anthology.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I was so thrilled to discover this. This was before I knew what Criterion was.
hmm
I didn't have Laserdisc. I'm a little bit younger than Brandon. Like, so I had not so much of a VHS phase as much as I had VHSs that I watched as a kid. But once DVD came around, I certainly became a collector pretty quickly when I was like, I should keep buying these. and that led to all the shelves that I have sitting around me today. But yeah, I discovered this is among one of the first DVDs I bought, period. Like it's like I think it's pretty much like Ocean's 11, Fight Club, Dark City, and this is probably in like the top 10 somewhere of like just first DVDs I owned. Beastie Boys video collection. This rules. This is, I mean, the Beastie Boys have spectacular music videos directed mostly by Spike Jonze, or is it Ad Rock or is it MCA? Regardless,
Sure.
Nathaniel Hornblower, I believe, is his credited name
Ah,
on these, but it's one of the boys. Or is it Yao? I think it might be Yao. Anyway, um, no, this is terrific. It's two discs. It's loaded with all their big music videos. Um, each video has multiple audio tracks. They have commentaries. They have other versions of the song that you can listen to while watching the video. So it's just like this wonderful compendium of all things Beastie Boys in terms of in terms of their music. I, what else can I say about the Beastie Boys? I'm a huge fan of the Beastie Boys. They shine in their creativity in ways that the best musical artists that like to fuse cinema with their music can. And it's a thrill to like go back to this every now and then, just pop some of these on, and then I end up watching like 2 hours of videos. And there's probably not even 2 hours of videos on here. I just rewatch some of them because it's just so fun. Body moving, intergalactic, what have you. There's a lot of great stuff throughout this.
yeah, yeah. That's a go. That one. There we go. Needs an upgrade.
It does. I'd love. Oh my God, a 4K of this thing would be with like new videos on top. Because
Yeah.
I had like three more albums since this thing came out. What is this? Number 100, by the way. I think I'll say the spine numbers on
Okay.
this.
I didn't go that deep. I don't even have the visual aids.
I thought you might not, and I almost suggested you to do it, but I'm like, I'll have the video aids. 75 is Chase the Gamey, 108 is The Rock, by the way.
There you go. There you go. Okay. My first one is The Red Shoes.
All right.
Um that one it's been on Laserdisc and Blu-ray and DVD. It's been on Blu-ray, DVD, and 4K. Like it's been all the way through. I discovered it as a blind get on Blu-ray, and I noticed it coming from Criterion, coming from Criterion, and it's got a great intro from Martin Scorsese about the movie that hypes you into it. And this movie, as like a lifelong fan and lover of Suspiria, this is like beta Suspiria, and for a long movie, it sings along, and it's got such gorgeous color to it. Um, I don't even think like this could be like I think this film is so good, and the restoration on it is beyond top tier that they could have bare bones the Red Shoes and put it out, and it would be top notch Criterion. Like that's how good this is. It comes with a roster of history and stuff like that, but like this one is, if you want to see through every time it's come out, the presentation has been amazing, and and every time you get it, it's a new film to look at, and it's just flawless, and it is an awesome like spooky, eerie tale set in a grandiose like song dance number era, and it's like kind of satirical to like those hopeful musicals, but it's also dark at the same time. And like I said, my favorite bonus feature of all the things on here is Martin Scorsese talking about the film, hyping you up to watch it, and it does not disappoint. And he's like, the masterpiece, The Red Shoes. And I was like, okay. And there we go.
The film itself has this bravura like 15-minute sequence that's all taking place within the musical that's
Mm-hmm.
being made in the film, which is spectacular. Scorsese, this is like his desert island movie, so like
Yeah.
he murder people to make sure it has a good transfer when it comes to the various versions of home video, which I believe he has, and he's wanted, and he should be accounted for.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
regardless, this movie, yeah, it's wonderful. It's fantastic. I'm happy to have the 4K of it.
mm-hmm.
I initially got it because I just heard Scorsese, among others, talking about it in various interviews.
Yeah.
Probably on Ebert at some point when he was like guesting on there, just talking about the Red Shoes because he's want to do that. But I was happy to get the 4K to review when it came out like a couple years ago at this point.
Yeah.
And just,
They went for it real fast. That one was like in the first year. I think it was the end of the first year. So the first year, started in like January with like the piano or so, or no, it started in like a November, right? Something
Started
like that.
November with it was Kane, of course.
Yeah, Kane, and I think
Kane
was
and Uncut
Wally.
Gems.
And
Uncut Gems was
Uncle Jim's, and then like I think it capped off the first year
yeah, I'm pretty
was
sure.
Red Shoes, and Scorsese, we mentioned, he's no stranger. He'll appear on random criteria talking about restorations or where the film came from. They even have Martin Scorsese's World Film Project as box sets that come out through these.
It helps that Scorsese and Thelma Schumacher, who was, married to Powell, right, of Powell and Pressburger, the directors of this film,
Hmm.
like they're pretty intimately associated with the film.
Yeah,
They have a little sway in making sure it gets out there the way it needs to be. But yeah,
for sure.
fantastic movie.
Yeah. All
Number
right.
number 40. What does it say? 44.
44. So yeah, the Red Shoes.
All right. My next film is, of course, one of my absolute favorites, Seven Samurai. Akira Kurosawa's epic masterpiece, one of his several masterpieces that are mostly in the Criterion Collection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this movie. I mean, there aren't action movies if this movie doesn't exist. Is one way to put it.
Right.
Like this movie is, it's so influential on the just get a team together and do a mission movie that doesn't exist before this. This movie is 3.5 hours. It's amazing and thrilling, and it earns every second of that runtime. I know it was. I know it was because I was there. It was restored in 4K recently. I was able to see that in the theater, and it's coming to Criterion once again, being released in a new 4K package along with a Studio Canal. I chose these. I have these DVDs because these are bigger, so they work on the camera better. But it's the Blu-ray currently. I look forward to having the 4K.
The 4K, which I ordered from BFI, not Criterion.
But it'll be out there. But no, I mean the joy of watching a movie like this and just absorbing all of what Kurosawa is doing, whether it's with the camera, with his actors, with the thrilling story being told. Like there's just so much there that I cherish about this movie. But as a criterion, like if we want to get back to the idea of like the most criterion of Criterion titles, between the red shoes and the seventh samurai were the first things I thought of on my on the list. I was like,
So,
that epitomizes what I'd expect from Criterion.
so I'm gonna honorable mention a Kurosawa in here because I have a thing about like Kurosawa anything, except for Ran, that or Ron. That's somewhere else. But um, I put Hidden Fortress because I feel like I've never seen that released in other countries. It probably is, but like the Samurai gets the hype, so you're going to be more visible to other releases of it. So I had Hidden Fortress as one. Rashomon also that one, but I think I've seen other countries release that as well. But I know Hidden Fortress is released in other countries, but like that one like I just feel like I don't see touted as often. They used to have in DVD, they had like a box set of early films for Kurosawa that's never seen an upgrade, which shame, but maybe the materials aren't in good enough condition.
Has
But
Yojimbo and Senjuro come out in other releases beyond
I think,
Criterion?
good question.
Because
Good
those are
question.
pretty exclusively Criterion. Like I don't feel like
Yeah,
that emerge anywhere.
I know I've seen like high and low in other countries like UK release and stuff like that. Like, but yeah, no, but Seven Samurai, that set is just phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
big Baki saw it. So that's the best of it. Is better, the best movie. But I was like, yeah, I was thinking, I'm like, Hidden Fortress is one I feel maybe it's just a slight edge. Maybe I just see it more like just Criterion. But yeah, but no, yeah, Kurosawa is one of the top tier Criterion directors of all time.
Number 2 on the old spine list
Oh,
here.
there you go. There we go. Number 1 is actually Follow That Bird, the 1980 Sesame Street movie.
What if it was?
That would be great. Oh my gosh. Released
Yeah,
on
rock metal guys. I mean, Big Bird.
released on Betamax, and then they quickly went back to the drawing board, skipped VHS, and yeah. So okay. My second one, and I'm waiting for this to get a 4K announcement because it always comes back around, is Alfred Hitchcock's Notorious. This one was on Laserdisc, DVD, and Blu-ray, and has had a different cover art each time.
Has, yes.
But with Blu-ray to 4K, they've been confusingly just keeping the same stuff. Like I fair, but this is there's this one has consistently they did a trio, which was these MGM releases a few years ago where the Spellbound, Notorious, and Rebecca all came out. And then Criterion upgraded two of them, but Spellbound, everybody's like, oh, they're going to do Spellbound soon. Nope, no Spellbound yet. They did Rebecca on Blu-ray and Notorious, but Notorious is the one that's been around. There's been other Hitchcock titles in the Criterion Collection randomly, but they also get released everywhere else. So while they've released The Lady Vanishes, they've released The 39 Steps. You can find those in generic multi Hitchcock movie packs. They're very much in some sort of public domain or really cheap rights to put out. But Notorious is a solid release. It's that Hitchcock movie with the one long shot that goes from all the way from the balcony down to the key in Ingrid Bergman's hand, which is notable. This is a beautiful looking film that inspired such films as Mission Impossible 2, which, yeah,
And that's it.
and that's it. That's it.
That's the
Uh,
only...
so whatever. But no, it's a good release. It's got some good Hitchcock stuff on there. I can't remember. Is Bogdanovich on there talking about Hitchcock at all? He tends to show up on the I should have done
Sure is.
better. Yeah. Yeah, thought so. Yeah. Because he sat with him, wrote a book and stuff like that. But he's always a good one to listen to talk about Hitchcock, and having him on there is good. He appears on Criterion releases quite a bit too. My favorite was, I believe, the North by Northwest Blu-ray has him, Guillermo del Toro, William Friedkin, and John Carpenter just talk about Hitchcock. It's like it's great. Just hearing them all four of them talk about Hitchcock. But yeah, Notorious is definitely up there for me, and I picked that because yes, they've had other Hitchcock releases. Like they did a really boffo release of Foreign Correspondent at one point, but that was their first time releasing it when it came on Blu-ray. But the Notorious, that's been with like it's always with. So every month I'm like, I wonder if Notorious is, if it's time for that, because I want all the Hitchcocks on 4K, and we're getting there. We're getting there.
Notorious, number 137. Spectacular movie. The ending of all I really have to say about Notorious. So the ending of Notorious, the final like 5 minutes of it, where everyone's kind of confronting, or at least the three leads are kind of confronting each other going down a staircase, is one of the most thrilling things I've ever seen in movies. Like there's no violence, there's just implication of things. It's just the tension at play and the implications of what happens at the end. Just that's pure Hitchcock. It's great.
Um has Scorsese said anything about it being like a inspiration for Killers of the Flower Moon a bit, for the scenes where
I wouldn't be surprised. I
yeah,
haven't typically him reference that, but that makes a lot of sense.
just kind of wondering. Okay. Number 3, Aaron.
My number 3 is the Battle of Algiers.
Oh, okay.
This is one of my favorite movies. This is like like Soderbergh in particular, and a lot of filmmakers in general cite this as like just like if you need influence of like how to make a movie, like this is one that absolutely does it for you. Um, this I saw this first in one of my film classes. I wasn't a film major, but I took several film classes in college, and the impact. I mean, we were just talking about Notorious, which has plenty of thrills. This is a film that's done in a documentary style without being a documentary. One of the first ones to like really kind of use that cinema verite approach, and when I talk about thrilling, the way it depicts these kind of, we're set in a certain period of France where there's a lot of political turmoil going on between Algeria and France, and the way it establishes the actions of certain people and bombings and things, and the way we see suspense play out, the way we know certain things are going to happen, but it's a matter of how and when. It's phenomenal. And on top of that, you get a a very rich story that's unconventional, especially for its time, in what it's trying to do. But the direction on display, the quality of how it's able to capture these environments, it all just comes together really well. This film's been restored a number of times. I know this is still a Blu-ray edition. I think it's a 4K that's not Criterion, if I'm not mistaken, maybe.
Mm.
I might be making that up. I think that I know it's had a 4K restoration. I don't know if it's been released on physical media as of yet. Regardless, it's had this hefty Criterion package that has like just plenty of other extras and stuff to go with it. And it's a film that I absolutely I absolutely adore. It's great.
Yeah, it's doesn't have a 4K. It did well, it does in well, it's got a Blu-ray with a 4K remaster that came out in the UK. But
That's very so it'll eventually get some kind of 4K release, I'm
it's
sure.
also been included in the Criterion Collection 40 box set that comes out later this month.
Makes sense.
Um, which is just a collection of movies that are already out. But a good, I mean, if you have the money and you want the previous format, it's for you. Or if you're a Criterion completionist,
Number
there you
240,
go.
by the way.
249. Okay. I'm gonna go with a movie that I've been with every step of the way except for Laserdisc. I was not a Laserdisc owner. I was a kid, so when that was my one, my parents would not give me one. This is the Seventh Seal, Ingmar Bergman. Which Bergman, they put a box set out for the guy. He's completely like Criterion. So like Bergman, anything, so like Wild Strawberries, whatever you want to. But Seven Steel sticks with me. Um, I first saw this movie in college on the Criterion Laserdisc. So I have seen the Criterion Laserdisc, but I never owned it. I was in my one of my film criticism classes, and like the professor announced, "Oh, we're and on this date we're gonna be screening The Seventh Seal." And there's all these groans. I was like, "Oh," I'm like, "What's The Seventh Seal?" Like, it's this boring movie in black and white Swedish they keep showing. I'm like, "Okay," and then like I showed up for that screening for the class, and like I would say 65% of my class didn't show up for that, and I fell in love with the movie. I was like, what the hell?" But like I was just engaged. I was amazed by it, and this is, one of the films that really helped lift me into international cinema a lot. I thought it was kind of a scary movie. I saw some of the humor in it, and some of like a lot of themes popped to me, and yeah, I went out and I bought it immediately. As a broke college student, I needed it. I remember I looked, it was funny because I worked at Circuit City in the time, and there was a lot of, I worked in the DVD section, and there were a lot of just boxes of stuff that was unopened in the back, just should have been on shelves, but they didn't. They were like, no, the shelves were full. Seventh Seal was in the back there. I purchased it, and I bought it immediately. So I bought it then. I bought it when it came to Blu-ray, and I bought it. I got the Bergman box set. It was in there with a new restoration, and then I got it on 4K when that came out. Because I always love the Seventh Seal. This one definitely has some good interviews, essays, and stuff like that. But this is just a perfect film, one of the best ever made. I can't get enough of it, and it's beautiful to look at. Like you pause, there's moments in this that make great artwork, paintings, moments that go down as the best of all time. So, Seventh Seal is my number three.
I believe it's number 11 in the collection. It's sitting behind this Godfather thing, my Bergman box set. I didn't choose Bergman specifically because I was already full, and I figured you'd probably have one, and I figured it'd probably be Seventh Seal, so I
There
specifically
you
chose
go.
to feature it. That said, you're not wrong. It is one of the best looking, beautiful blue, black and white films of all time. We
Hmm.
already talked about the Red Shoes, which is one of the most gorgeous color films ever made. Seven Seal certainly fits in that category in the black and white uh, territory. And the thing that you hinted at, you said already, it is entertaining and it's often quite funny.
Yeah.
Uh, like if you want to look at like William Sadler in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey as Death, that is a funny performance. it's not far off from what's going
No.
on in Seven Seal. Him Seven Seal, he's death is just as funny in that movie. It's a little more macabre because it's a lot of him like basically going at what's his face Max von Sydow being like you're gonna die soon. Like it's a lot of basically that's what it amounts to. But he's a very entertaining character. But the movie
Hmm.
itself, yes, it has its share of humor, and it's like a lot of this when we talk about these movies. You talk about Ingmar Bergman's The Seventh Seal, and somebody just like naturally assumes, well, that's going to be a chore. And it's like, it's 90 minutes. It's really entertaining. It's gorgeous to look at. It's like, what else do you want for movies? Like, it does the job. It has things to say while like giving you stuff to be like, I'm having a good time with this. Also, I feel kind of down afterwards, but that's no matter. Like, it's just so much here that in the same realm of like people that choose not to watch foreign films or international films because of subtitles, not because of like, health reasons or what have you, but like just choose not to out of what amounts to snobbery.
Hmm.
It's the same deal with older films like this, let alone older international films, where it's like you put in 5% extra effort to just put this on and try to enjoy it. Chances are you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I don't see the whole the chore aspect of it and all that. Like, and like I said, and like you said, my appreciation for Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey went up. It was like, oh wow, this actually knew its stuff. It did its research. It was
Yeah,
very Monty Python of it. Um, well, actually, I say us Yanks say Monty Python. I was recently told in the UK it's Python. Uh, that's the difference there. But yeah, it shows how intelligent that is. And that character of Death was iconic for a long time. Not just Bill and Ted. Like everybody knew it. Like everybody knew that Death and the chess match. Like that lasted a long time. It's kind of left, the pop culture, you know, notability. Like it was funny because when the Columbia Classics came out with that set with Oliver Twist, and I rewatched that. I'm like, oh shit, this movie used to be like easy reference material, like the Artful Dodger and all that stuff. And no one knows the hell that is anymore. But I was like, wow, this used to be like at the front of pop culture for decades, and it's gone now. And
to
this one
Bergman's
probably,
credit, like it's not like he was, he wasn't a box office juggernaut, but he
yeah,
like those movies made money in America.
yeah.
Not hand over fist, but like
You got
they
the stereotype of sad bastard black and white films too, like art
but
house stuff. Yeah,
they performed fairly well for Swedish films in America in the 50s,
right.
60s. Like they didn't do terrible. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to your fourth.
my fourth is going to be a representation of pretty much everything Wes Anderson, Royal Tenenbaums,
Aha.
Rushmore. I have all the others. Life Aquatic.
I had Wes Anderson anything.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I'm going with here. Rushmore 65, Tenenbaums is 157, and then it goes on from there. We're still waiting on Isle of Dogs as the next one, but
yeah.
soon enough.
It's been a long time. I remember they got it seemed like they got Grand Budapest Hotel like pretty fast and then nothing now. And
Yeah,
no 4Ks either.
no 4Ks as of yet. I wouldn't be. I don't think assuming that there'd be like a box set one day would be out of the line, but if I want to guess, maybe COVID and strikes and the fact that
Well, and
West.
his stuff's at Searchlight now, so
Yeah.
there's that. So it might be a little
I mean,
tougher.
Fantastic Mr. Fox is
Right.
Searchlight, Grand Budapest is Searchlight. I mean,
But
that has a
they were Fox at the time. Now
that's all.
they're
Yeah, so it's a number of things like that. And Wes Anderson, frankly, has kept himself very busy. He's been churning
right.
out
Yeah.
pretty
When
frequently.
he's got those shorts at Netflix too, and that'll be a pain to get those somewhere. But
Netflix has been releasing on Criterion, so I mean that's
no, they have like Scorsese. It depends on the filmmaker. I imagine we'll see Glass Onion on some physical media format, like probably just to it'll probably get announced to promote the next one. It'll probably be a piece of the
that's
marketing.
Power of the Dog, Irishman, Mudbound, like
Yeah.
that. Seemingly want they're happy to have their boutique labels.
Roma got out. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Anyway, Royal Tenenbaums, Rushmore, all these are fantastic sets. They have great commentaries. They're full of extra features. A lot of just looking into a lot of video essay stuff, especially with Anderson because of his unique filmmaking style. There's a lot of people that are happy to talk about it. Talk about his
shorts are on those too.
shorts are on those, but like talking about his like uses of symmetry and
Yep.
color and what have you. There's there's plenty going on. His commentaries are always a lot of fun because we'll get like a good number of people involved, and they usually be recorded in various locations, like not just like a studio, but be like, hey, we're in a coffee shop and we're recording a commentary. Like it'll be that kind of nonsense, which could be distracting, but somehow is endearing. Fantastic Mr. Fox especially is great because there's so much footage of them actually filming because the way they shot that movie, they filmed all the dialogue like in like on locations. So if like George Clooney's supposed to be like running around in the dirt doing stuff with Bill Murray, they'd actually just run around in the dirt with Bill Murray
Right.
and they'd record that audio. And you get to see so much of that live action footage on the blue for that, which is great. I'd love to see the whole movie that way. Um but no, in general, Criterion and Wes Anderson get along like the best of things. And it's a benefit to have so many of his films featured in that format.
Gotcha. All right. You kicked it off with a music one. So I'm gonna go with Hard Day's Night is one that has made its way from Laserdisc all the way through now 4K release, keeping the packaging. That one kept the bulky pack. Some of them,
Yeah,
like Night of the Living Dead, went to a normal case after Blu-ray.
okay.
So that's what happened. But A Hard Day's Night, this is a pinnacle seminal musical film. They've done it great justice, both audio and visual speaking. It's kind of like had its load of bonus features and just kept porting them over as far as they can. But this movie's a joy. And one of my favorite things is when COVID, the first weekend of lockdown or something, like I decided to have a little film festival for my kids and stuff like that. And this is the first movie I showed in the morning, and I was like, see how they dig this, and they loved it. They were
It's fun.
they were very into it because I knew they liked Beatles, but I'm like, will they get into this? They liked this movie a lot, and I was happy that I was like, this, yeah, transcends because I'm like showing them this 4:3 black and white. It's 4:3, right? I think it's 133. Yeah, black and white thing. It's got songs. It's weird, but it
No,
works.
175
Oh, it's
apparently.
175. Okay. But yeah, it's oh yeah, because it's that
Yeah.
hammer. It's the
Yeah.
hammer stuff. So I remember there is like matted on the sides. But yeah, it's just is an absolute treat. It's a bulky release with plenty to go with, and essays and retrospectives and things like that to go with. I think there's some added archival pieces in there as well. But that is a must-have for any film lover. It's a piece of history. It'd be cool if Criterion could do Help as well, or Magical Mystery Tour, but those tend to get independent releases every time they come out. But yeah, this is the best of them. And it really lives up to all the hype or anything you could hear about a Beatles movie. And it's a nice piece to have here for all time.
It's number 711, by the way. I first saw Hard Day's Night when it came out on like a deluxe DVD that what before it was on Criterion.
Hmm.
And I never knew that the like I was young. I didn't know the Beatles had like movies, beyond like obviously or music documentary related type stuff. I didn't realize they had like a film career to a point.
Ah!
So it's like, wait, they have like just like a comedy of them being the Beatles, and I was so
Hmm.
taken in the way that I assume your kids were, where it's like, this is just fun to watch. I'm so happy with this, and I like how
Yeah.
exaggerated they are as characters. Or like, Paul's nice and John's, Ringo's aloof and George is a dick. Like it's just like it's
Paul's ornery. Like,
so it's a wonderful comedy. And of course it has their music, so it's like you can't really go wrong there. So good stuff.
yeah, they've also got, I mean, they got some good stuff from Richard Lester on there as well and some old commentaries, but it's one they've constantly added to, except for when it came to 4K. They just kind of like, yeah, we had our final word on this when it went to Blu-ray. All right.
All
Halfway.
right.
This is well, after this, we're in the halfway point. So number five.
Okay, number five, I will go with Jules Dassin's Rafifi.
Yes.
I had the DVD of this also, which has a different cover, but this Blu-ray came out a little while ago at this point. And I know it just got another 4K restoration, so I can only hope it'll get a 4K upgrade for Criterion soon enough as well. Rafifi is generally what I say is my favorite film noir. It's certainly my favorite heist film of all time.
Mm-hmm.
This could be tied with any number, if there's a lot of great film noir. But heist films, this is my people scream at you Heat or whatever. Like Rafifi is what I go to. Rafifi rules. This is a fantastic crime drama heist movie. It has this legendary like 20 minute silent sequence where you're just watching the thieves try to rob the diamonds that they're after. It's got everything. It's got drama. It's got action. It's got lounge singers. It's a packed movie, steeped in atmosphere and darkness to a degree. It has a wonderful ending that kind of it's the sort of thing where it's like, yeah, this is how this would go, but it's accomplished so well, and it's so riveting to watch. I'm a huge fan of Revivi. I was happy to see it in a theater not too long ago when it was restored once, and it was like this is just amazing to see on a big screen. But watching, being able to like own it and just enjoy it whenever I want to, it's a real joy to have.
Yeah, you turned me on to Rafifi, so I had it on Blu-ray because of your recommendation, and it is every bit as exciting as any modern heist movie made. Like it's so cool, so slick. It's definitely a high recommend, and I want where's the 4K?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where's the 4K
I'd love to have that.
And I also, because you told me in time, I think you told me, and then like Whiplash came out, and I was like, oh, I know Rafifi. Paul Reiser's pretty cool there going to Rafifi.
Imagine how like beaming with joy I was when I saw that the first time I saw Whiplash. Like they're going to see Rafifi. This is great.
I was like,
And Rafifi, that's another one that you can see a lot of influence in other movies.
mm-hmm.
Rafifi and how they do things. There's a lot of movies that very clearly have that in mind. Even other Jules Dassin movies. I think Top Copy has like a very similar, which goes on to influence the first Mission Impossible. We referenced two Mission Impossible films so far on this episode. Will we get to another? We'll see.
We'll see.
But this is number 115, by the way, of the old list here. I have to put all these back after this. This is gonna be fun. To go back in my shelves and number all this.
Okay. My next one, I'm not going to recommend just one, but three movies because it's the Samurai trilogy. This one, yeah. So this one is light on the extras.
A little bit.
It's primarily an interview that gets split into three parts. These and some trailers, but the film's directed by like Hiroshi Inagaki, and these are very cool, very different stylistic films regarding samurais that I feel like highly influential, but they don't come up like your Kurosawas and some of the other ones. But these are samurai films in color, which a lot of them, these and the Lone Wolf and Cub ones are your color samurai films to go to, and then that aren't completely grindhouse.
Like Lady Snowblood.
And Lady Snowblood, yeah, like Lady Snowblood would take it to like different levels and stuff like that. And there's some other ones in the 70s that come out, but they get more bloodshed. But these, like the third one, you're gonna know, and like it has like this sundown beach fight that is just legendary, just visual splendor and everything you want your like dream scenario high art samurai fight to be. And it kind of reminds me of like The Last Jedi when Luke and how projected Luke and Kylo Ren face off kind of feels like that. But there's a lot of, like Last Jedi has a lot of cool, like Outlaw Samurai, another Criterion. That throne room battle in Last Jedi comes from that movie. There's a scene of them like going to town, just fighting things, throwing swords to each other, catching them, fighting. It's awesome. But the Samurai trilogy, this is definitely like, it's a solid pickup, like 3 movies, pretty good price. Comes in a regular case, but each one of them feels like a nice different film with a different trajectory artistically, instead of just like more so than like plot and stuff. And it was kind of a thing. I just saw this one and like I like blind bought it and did not regret it. Like a lot of these Criterion titles, I must say, I blind buy. Some of them. That is a blind buy. It's like, well, if Criterion says it's worthwhile to go in the collection, I'm gonna pick this up. And then samurai stuff is always gonna intrigue me. to check out. Um, so yeah, it's a big orange. It's an orange box with a drawing of a samurai guy on it. It's a samurai trilogy. Pick it up.
That's a good point as we get to like our halfway point here as far as like the buying habits for Criterion. There's plenty of films that I just frankly haven't seen. Some I
It's
haven't.
curated me on international cinema and stuff.
But
Yeah.
yeah, just get you going. Whether it's the very premise or the fact that it's like, oh, it's a Toshiro Mifune film I hadn't heard before, or
Yeah.
director, one of their earlier or lesser known films. It's on there, but the premise is cool. Where it's like a mob boss's daughter has been kidnapped, and it's up to like two. It's like, all right, great, yeah, let's do this. Sounds good. 90 minutes.
Right.
um, to go in a different, that's 14, 15, and 16, I believe, for the
So
summer trip.
yeah. So
To go
we're halfway there. All right.
in another direction here, I will go with Hoop Dreams.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Spectacular documentary. This the 3 hour documentary of a story of these two kids as we watch them progress in basketball as well as in their lives, and just the area they live in and their upbringing or what have you is just as relevant today as it was back in the 90s. The film that received plenty of notoriety because specifically of Siskel and Ebert championing it as hard as they did. This movie is fantastic. It's what I tend to put default one of my favorite sports films of all time because it's just it encompasses so much of what you can see from what talent can get you versus what your living situation can get you and everything in between. It has plenty to offer in that regard. As I said, it's 3 hours, but it's like it's just it's very, very watchable. Even as a documentary, it's incredibly watchable and rewatchable, no less. It's not like I put on Hoop Dreams every week, but I mean, when I'm in, if I'm in the mood to watch Hoop Dreams, I'm gonna watch Hoop Dreams. It's great. There's plenty
Mhm.
here, and it's the kind of thing where Criterion having their hands on this is fantastic because it allows it to kind of stay out there in the world and be continue existing in a way where people can pick it up and be like, oh yeah, Hoop Dreams, I've heard about this. Like it's there.
It was a highly touted documentary in the 90s when it came out, too.
And I believe controversial because it wasn't eligible for the Academy Awards for
Hmm.
what nonsense reason they had. So the fact that it received the attention that it did anyway, and stands tall as one of the best films of the 90s, like it's great. There's like I believe there's two commentaries on this thing. Like it has plenty of stuff to offer. Certainly, even if you haven't seen Hoop Dreams, one to watch for sure, and certainly a great addition in the collection. It's number 289.
289. All right, my next one then. We're gonna go with Terry Gilliam's Brazil. This one has made its way through the rank. It did not do DVD Criterion,
You sure?
but I think well, did it?
I'm pretty sure I had the DVD. I'm crazy. Of Brazil.
Let me see. Or maybe I'm thinking of Time Bandits. That was not DVD.
Could be pretty because I definitely had Brazil on DVD because I
Yeah,
remember.
well, the DVD came out at the same time as the Blu-ray. Oh, no, there it is. Okay, it was a 3 disc set. Well, hold on. So it came out in 2006 on both Blu-ray or no, Blu-ray came out in 2012. Okay. So yeah, it was 2006. So my bad. Yes, it did make it Blu-ray. Might have been thinking Time Bandits or something like that.
No, yeah, I think you're right there. Time Bandits.
Because Time Bandits, Terry Gilliam, another because like Fisher King, that's another one. I was like Fisher King or Brazil, but Brazil's been there the whole way, so I went with Brazil. And this is a nice little quirky movie that only Terry Gilliam could make. That feels like his movies kind of they're not quite David Lynchy, but I mean, if you, I can't imagine liking David Lynch and not getting into Gilliam with stuff like this, with like Brazil. It's a bit more
He
fantastical.
has a zaniness to hit because he's part of Monty Python.
Yes, and
Yes.
he's got a very like a touch to his filmmaking that is almost Australian, but he's not, and he didn't work with he came up in the UK. Like it's kind of interesting, with interesting lens usage and close-ups. But this is a crazy movie. And this includes like two different versions of the movie, I believe.
Yeah, the
Wildly different endings.
yeah, the what is it? The love cut. What is it called? It doesn't matter. But yeah, there's the studio mandate, the Love Conquers All version. There we go.
The
That's it.
Love Conquers All version. Yeah.
Yeah. And then his preferred or his intended vision.
Yeah, this has some wildly like strange stuff in it. Very just the production design on this is incredible. If you like matte paintings and sets, it is perfect. They have an old on-set documentary included in here. Um, Lots of stuff.
Highly
They,
influential film as far as the way it
hmm
not only a dystopian, but it's depicting a certain kind of sci-fi bureaucracy that you'd see in a lot
Right.
of going forward.
Great young Jonathan Pryce performance. This is also like he has a thematic trilogy with this 12 Monkeys and the Zero Theorem. This is the first one of it. Um, and it holds up today because it's such a fantastical, elseworld, otherworldly thing. Like time doesn't matter, datedness doesn't matter, or anything like that. It just works, and yeah, it's an effective film just today as it was back when it came out. But yeah, this one I always associate with Criterion. I don't think we don't have a 4K yet.
Not yet,
We
no,
need
but
one. They've done Fear and Loathing already on 4K and Time Bandits on
it's
4K, and yeah, so maybe Don Quixote gets a 4K first. Who
it is
knows?
12 Monkeys 4K on Arrow. Is
12,
that?
12 Monkeys went to Arrow. 12 Monkeys never went to
Not 4K.
Criterion though.
But I'm
Um,
just saying is it's 4K though right now on
yeah,
Arrow. Yeah.
yeah. And I think they did. Arrow
Aaron
did
Munchausen.
they
Aaron
did the
Munchausen.
they did Fear and Loathing in the UK on 4K.
Yeah,
I
they did.
think yeah. So
But isn't Adventures of Baron Munchausen? That's also on 4K.
Munchausen, yeah, it came 4K. Um, yeah. So like Gilliam stuff definitely, but highlighting Brazil here.
Yeah.
So
That's number
number
51.
51.
All right. My next pick will be Fritz Lang's M.
Yes.
Dear Lori. This was the third film I thought of when you asked me to do this because I
Yep.
love it. M is one of my absolute favorite films. This would be like a proto slasher, if you like the way to
hmm
describe it. But it's essentially a German expressionistic noir. Peter Lorre's a child murderer that doesn't get burned, so he's not Freddy Krueger. He's just murdering children like a normal person.
hmm
Um, and the film has a variety of things going on. There's a witch hunt. There's obviously Laurie's own psychological turmoil that he's going through. Because it's Fritz Lang and it's black and white, it's German expressionism. It obviously looks fantastic. This could definitely use a 4K. This would be wonderful to watch in 4K. It's highly
Black and
influential.
white always on 4K is so good.
Oh my God, yeah. But yeah, highly influential movie. Plenty of things going on within it. Plenty of for films that have taken exact like all of Woody Allen's Shadows and Fog is basically just him doing a riff on M, but funnier. Um, no, I mean this was another one that I caught for the first time in my film noir class, and I was just utterly taken by it. I think it's a spectacular movie. Um, just this cover alone is one of these most iconic shots in like film.
Yeah.
Peter Lorre just discovering this thing. I did this for Halloween once. I did this costume.
Oh.
Uh, and it has a lot of things on here too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's a number of like good documentaries, good retrospectives, or what have you. There's plenty of things that go along with film. It's a film. When you ask me the idea of like what does Criterion represent, like this is a pretty ideal example of what
Yeah.
that. You have this film from the 1930s that is so stylized and so very specific to its era and to its filmmaker, and doesn't necessarily fit in the same realm of other classics that are coming from that time, but certainly feels very appropriate to include in a sort of film registry of what matters in history. So,
I sort of feel like with M stuff when I saw that, like I didn't see it till after I had seen like Lady Vengeance, but it kind of shares a bit with that. Reminded me of early on, but like yeah, Peter Lorre, like I'll watch him read a phone book. He's that intriguing of a character actor, and he used to be like super known, and like Looney Tunes would even parody him a bunch, and you could tell who they're going for with that. Like any like cartoon drawing, you're like, oh, that's Peter Lorre. That's Peter Lorre, and yeah, certainly seeing him in his native tongue in a movie is even elevated his performance. Seeing it with comfort, just yeah, it's
yeah,
a
this is
here's
before
a
he and Lang would get out of Europe essentially before
mm-hmm.
Where things got a little bad for some reason during the later period of the 30s, and yeah, it's before he kind of breaks out in America, and as character actor there, it's one of his like lead roles in here.
Okay. So my next one, and I know I should probably put this other one there first, but one means more to me. My next one's Jean Cocteau's Orpheus. Well, I know I probably should say Beauty and the Beast. Thank you very much.
Can't go wrong.
Orpheus. Huh?
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. This movie is wonderful. It's another one I saw in a film class, and it mesmerized me. So I saw the laser disc of that in film class, and then I have owned it on every format. I had to give a speech on Cocteau and that about that movie with that one because we watched these movies and we got assigned to give a presentation about the director and that film. And my I and that was the time where I had to go to the library and get books to look up stuff about Jean Cocteau, find interview like anything I could with this movie. And I didn't think I was like, I hope this is okay. And I gave my speech, and my teacher stood up from from the desk and started clapping. And I was like, I hope that's not sarcastic. He's like, this was exciting. I was like, what the fuck? He said, you managed to tie that film to that man's life in such a unique way. And so I'm like, oh, okay. Well, all right, cool. And then he was like, the next one I got, he was very excited for this one. He wasn't very happy with my next one. I was a fluke. I was a fluke. He didn't like, but like the next one I did,
But hit Peters.
we weren't allowed to use the internet as reference back then. And our library at college had like zilch on this director and shit. And I was just like, I gotta do what I can do. I can talk about the movie and stuff, but I can't remember what the film was. But I disappointed him with the next one because I hyped it up too much with Orpheus. But this is a good, this is an excellent movie. It's great thematically, great story, but like practical effects and in-camera effects to the max.
Oh yeah,
Just insane what they're doing in real time, right there. Crazy reversal, cranking the film backward, like, and creating another dimension in this movie while not going overboard, but making it feel fantastical and different. And this movie has some quirkiness and weirdness to it, and just it's awesome. Like this movie just is rock. It rocks. It needs a 4K. They've done no Cocteau on 4K yet. Put that bastard Godard above all else, but no Cocteau. But no, this one means a lot to me because of that moment where I had a professor stand up and clap and tell everybody that was the speech of all this classes, only to disappoint him the next time. But this movie's great, and it's always been a piece of Criterion. It's one I always, every month I'm like, maybe this is Orpheus. Nope. Or Orphe, as it's called in the title. But this also gives it's super French too. Like it starts off with guys in black turtleneck at a coffee shop and shit in sunglasses and smoking. It starts out super French, which is I applaud that. But yeah, Orphe, that is my number. What are we at? Was that number 7 or is that number 8? Yeah, I think number 7.
That's number 68 in the collection.
Mm-hmm.
I was on a podcast fairly recently with Howard Kasner's the Pop Art Says podcast, where he takes two films, older and newer, and kind of matches them together. So I talked about Orpheus and Albert Brooks's Defending Your Life, which is also on Criterion.
Okay.
Which was a really fun conversation to have as far as matching within each other. But yeah, Orpheus, which was a film at that point I had not caught up with. I had known other Cocteau films, obviously Beauty and the Beast, but Orpheus was just one that was just one I hadn't got to yet. So since, within the past couple of years I have, and it's a fantastic, and I watched his, he has like a trilogy of these films.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched all of them, and they're all interesting in their own ways, but obviously Orpheus is just it's a like you're saying, everything you just said is accurate. Like it's a fantastic film and very inventive in how it approaches what it's trying to do.
And I know Beauty and the Beast is the more known title, and that's just as impressive of a film and like great Beauty and the Beast depiction, but Orpheus just that one for me. Personal preference.
All right. Let's see. Where are we at? 8?
Number 8. Number 8.
Number 8. I will go back to neo-noir now and go with Jean-Pierre Melville's Les Samurai with Alain Delon, the late Alain Delon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is one of the coolest movies ever made, period, hands down. And which is impressive because it's from 1967, which came out this around the same time as Point Blank and Tokyo Drifter, which is also here, which are all like cool assassin movies. And so it was
Yeah.
just the French New Wave was really taken over in all kinds of respects. And obviously, you know, I'm talking about a Japanese film and an American film, but you have The Samurai, which is just fucking cool. Alain Delon, you know, one of like the hottest guys ever in movies, is just like this cold assassin, wears a trench coat and a hat, has a very monotone life, you know, sticks to himself. Watching films just recently, like David Fincher's The Killer, obvious influence. Watching Jarmusch's Ghost Dog, also on Criterion, another one that's heavily influenced by The Samurai. The Samurai is such an influential film in the realm of how we see cinematic assassins depicted. And it's cool as fuck. What else can I say?
No, it's me. This is, so I have this too. So we're gonna share number 8.
Okay.
This movie like is like it hooks you. It's suspenseful as shit. There's cool little details. It's that what is it? Why are we so obsessed with hitmen in things? Like they're always these cool dudes. They have a code. It's always their way of things. And watching this guy go to work and he's so confident. Like that's the thing. But they always like they're so confident, but they're not perfect. They're like that point. We see them on the day. The 0.01% of their ability is called into question, and this one just is stylistically cool. It's got great, like good color lighting. It's a very gray movie, but beautifully. And this one actually, this is the first Melville film I've seen, and everything I've seen from this guy is rocks. Like Le Cercle Rouge, that is also on Criterion. That movie, so if you like Le Samurai, you're gonna love Le Cercle Rouge too, because it's got everything you want. It's a great compliment to Le Samurai. It's not the same thing. It's a bit about a guy who's not as cool or as collected as this, but it's got that same idea, and that's kind of bleak too. But it's awesome. Lots of cool stuff, and just it's always fun to find a new director you really like. I'm trying to space out so I don't just like hammer down Melville. He had a couple kinos come out recently that I enjoyed checking out. Good stuff as well. Like he's a terrific filmmaker that discovered through Le Samurai.
Yeah. Movie's
So
great.
yeah,
One of
that is pick that the fuck up. Like, that's what I'm gonna say about that one. Pick that one the fuck up. So
It's an easy comfort watch, weirdly. It's one I can easily have on in the
Mhm.
background. Just be like, because so much of it's either silent or the dialogue's impartial. It's just like, yeah, they're talking about things, but you get it. Like, so
Mhm.
you just have it on and just enjoy the mood of the movie. It
Right.
just really works on that level.
Yeah, it speaks visually quite well. So yeah, let's go to number 9.
Yeah, since we tied, so we can go back to
Yeah.
Okay, I will go. Let's see. I have 5 films left here, and I'm gonna incorporate all of them somehow anyway. But I'll go.
Okay.
I'll pick up
I've
one.
got a list, and I'll just ramble through them if
The,
I haven't mentioned them already.
the Samurai's number 306, by the way. Um, I will go with a film that's on multiple other formats, but the first time I saw it was through the Criterion DVD. It is Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. This
Do the
is
right thing.
the deluxe Blu-ray set that came out a few years ago. Then it was released on 4K. But regardless, uh, Criterion did right by Spike way back because this was an early DVD and it was probably on. If I had to assume, it was probably on Laserdisc back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you can look that up for me. But regardless, Do the Right Thing is one of my favorite films of all time. It's one of the best films of the '80s period. It, I mean, it is a spectacular movie that is both entertaining and wildly informative about what race relations uh, can do in a city in a specific circumstances and what that means and how that tracks through time, where Spike Lee's not wrong in saying he made this movie in '89, and it's not like things have changed all that much as far as what he's trying to address. And in doing so, he makes a film that is powerful in many respects and certainly can be emotional, but it is never anything but entertaining. It has so much going on. There's so much life and liveliness in it, and it comes from Spike Lee's ability to be a very formal director that has his own way of approaching things from an ambitious point of view. Because he's a black director that's making things that are very specifically coded in black culture while maintaining what he's learned from film schools, from his idols, from Scorsese, from Powell and Pressburger, or what have you. So that's why when you have a movie like Do the Right Thing, it's not just a film that is, message heavy or rooted in certain kinds of comedy or what have you. It's a film that is full of color and full of music and full of wonderful score from in this one. I think it's still his father doing the job before Terrence Blanchard comes in for his later films. It has so much going on here. It's such a packed movie. That's a dense movie in terms of just filmmaking, and then you have all these wonderful actors in it. And on top of that, this Blu-ray it rocks. It has so many.
Hmm.
It has a few great essays in there. I think a lot of it's like excerpts from his book about the making of Do the Right Thing. It has a lot of. It has, I think, two commentaries now at this point. Yeah, it has a number of retrospectives. It has so much going on to kind of look at the making of Do the Right Thing. It has a pretty lengthy documentary, if I'm not mistaken, too. So yeah, Do the Right. This is just one of the, for me, it's one of the ultimate like Blu-ray packages you can have from Criterion because it's such a powerful film that's very entertaining and also just looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like I have the 4K also, which is not from Criterion as of yet, but like you know they've done right by Spike with between this and Malcolm X and a few other just bamboozled at this point as well. So they know what they're doing when they go to Spike.
Yeah. That one also, I love the layout of the artwork and the packaging. When you
Oh yeah.
open it up and everything,
Oh
I'm like,
god.
oh, this is cool. This is awesome. I've held on to that, even though it's on 4K, and I have the Steelbook 4K of Do the Right Thing, but I have both of them because I'm like, that's a criterion I just hold the hell on to.
It's
Yes,
art. It's
yes.
wonderful. That's just one side of it. Number 97. List
Number,
here.
number 97, Do the Right Thing. My number nine is we can another director. We can say just about everything. But I pick La Dolce Vita from Fellini.
Heard of him.
Heard of him? But this one had like just it's got the striking image um of Anita Ekberg on the image that's always been there, but like the way they use it in the Criterion. But the DVD is where I first noticed it. It's been on Laserdisc. Um, this one continues. I think we may have seen the end of this one in the Criterion Collection because Paramount put it out themselves with a different restoration and a Scorsese intro to it. So I have a feeling Paramount's taken this one back. They've been doing that. They did Rosemary's Baby. They gave to Criterion and they brought it back. But I love the dedication of Paramount to home video in the past couple of years. So fair enough. And we got the Fellini box set with this is in for. But this is an awesome movie about a guy's night out on an obsession and intrigue with a beautiful young woman. Uh, and just it's stylistically lovely. You get to see a lot of Italy. I always love Italy on film. It might be Rome or whatever and stuff like it might be one of my favorite countries to see, but like because whenever you see it, like whether it's an Argento horror film or like Call Me by Your Name, Italy just looks lovely. The architecture is great. There's something about the aging to it that works, and this one's a terrific film. It was like between this and 8.5, but I went with La Dolce Vita. 8.5 is coming to 4K, so there's that. But yeah, La Dolce Vita. It's been a multi-disc set. It's been a Blu-ray. It went in the Fellini box set. It was on Laserdisc. Maybe 4K, but at this time, Paramount just put out a Blu-ray to it after the box set of Fellini came out. So I imagine Paramount might go ahead and put their own 4K out. But who knows?
Well, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I have the Fellini box set as well. It's somewhere over there, somewhere you can't see it on the
Mhm.
camera. But I mean, it's one you've taken the time and gotten through all the
I
films.
went through that whole one. I still haven't done the whole Bergman one. I'm still going through the Agnes Varda. The only ones I've done Fellini and uh
Zatoichi.
Wong Kar-wai. And
Wong
no,
Kar-wai.
Zatoichi,
I
I
know.
still got like 15 of them to go.
I
Like,
was
yeah.
kidding with the Zatoichi. And Wong Kar-wai did that as well.
Mm,
Um, I mean, In the Mood for Love's one that I didn't pick, but I mean
yeah.
that's absolutely a Criterion film if you've ever
Oh yeah,
thought.
yeah, yeah. In the Mood for Love is definitely there. Yeah. But the other ones have been through various releases, including Quentin Tarantino's Rolling Thunder Pictures presents The Chungking Express.
Mhm. A film that we did a commentary for on Out Now with Aaron and Abe.
Check it out.
Uh, all right. So we're at number 10 now. This is
Number
the last.
10. Yep.
All right. Well, Brandon, how else would I end this? Obviously Godzilla.
Godzilla!
What else would I be doing here? Godzilla, of course, is one of my obsessions. Obviously, I have the big old box set too. It's like somewhere there it is up there. But the if you're feeling not ambitious enough to embrace the entire Showa era, you can't go wrong with the original classic Godzilla, which has this wonderful Criterion set, mainly because it does this when you open it.
Yep.
It's like, how do we make this bigger? Boom, we make it a little bigger. It's great.
Did the 4K is the 4K retaining that? I know there's been review copies out.
I hope so. It's supposed to arrive in the mail for me, I think tomorrow. I was hoping to get it today for this fucking podcast, but it didn't come yet. But regardless, Ishiro Honda's phenomenal kaiju classic is it's one of the greatest monster movies of all time, next to like King Kong. Um, and for good reason. It's not just, the fact that it's this giant monster stomping around cities, but it works as this parable for the nuclear age and what Japan's going through after the war and their fears that they were suffering after, what happened at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Like it's so clearly on the screen there. And seeing it presented in this way in a Godzilla film that's attempting to be scary for its time, because it's certainly a somber and very serious film compared to the lighter sequels that follow up and featuring monster bashes and what have you. This one's a film that takes it generally seriously, and it has real actors in it. It has what's his face from Seven Samurai and many other um, Kurosawa films. And Ikiru and what have you. But I mean, it's a film that, yeah, it absolutely wants to be a film that's taken seriously, even if you want to, poke fun at the suitmation that's at play at times. At the time, that was incredibly innovative, and it's filmed in a way that, like I said, it treats it very seriously.
Hmm.
Everyone that saw Godzilla -1 last year and turned it into an Oscar-winning box office hit, if they hadn't seen the original Godzilla, if you liked what you saw in Godzilla -1, obviously the effects are in the use of color and what have you make a certain kind of difference. But if you go back and watch the 54 original, you're going to see a lot of similarities in what it's doing and why that film works as well as it does because of what this first film established so well. But yeah, you can hear plenty of talk about Godzilla. We did a Godzilla commentary track it out now. We've talked about Godzilla on this podcast multiple times. There's plenty of Godzilla chatter that between Brandon and I that you can hear.
Yeah,
But just know that this Criterion Collection edition rocks.
it
There's
rules.
plenty of features on here, let alone the fact that the entire Showa era 14 films are all on Criterion as well as
That box set is a must. Yeah.
at least 1,000. The original Godzilla, this was 594. But yeah, I can only hope that they bring the other eras into this as well. That'd be something. But for the time being, having the original classic Godzilla on there, very much a cool Criterion pick to have.
So I have my last one's a heartbreaker because it's no longer with Criterion, but it feels wrong. It's not. That is The Third Man. It was Laserdisc, DVD, Blu-ray that went out of print, and then Studio Canal snatched up rights and is never gonna let go. The Third Man is a awesome noir classic. Orson Welles, uh, in a role, Joseph Cotton, in one of his like good guy roles.
Yeah, one of his
And this is one of the launch titles for Criterion on Blu-ray when it came out, and I
yeah.
worked on it so much every day for weeks and weeks and stuff that I was like, I'll take my time picking this up. I've seen it every day, and then when I went to do it, it went out of print, and I don't
Yep.
own it. I don't own it, so I own a German import. Oh no, it's on 4K now. So what did I get on 4K?
Okay. You got
Yeah,
this The Studio Canal version of 4K.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, what did I get?
It's over here somewhere.
Yeah, there's a Studio Canal or something like that. Yeah, but it's a terrific movie. I had a German Blu-ray. That's what when they did the 4K restoration and put it out on standard Blu-ray back in the day. I picked up the German version because I didn't have the US one. I always like felt like a before I got a 4K region free player stuff like that. It was always a hole. Was that Third Man uh, Blu-ray from Criterion that I wanted and go. It went for a pretty penny on eBay, and I was just like, no man, I can't do that. So because I knew that disc up and down for a bit, but no, but that's what happens. And that's my number 10 is this heartbreaking ending to the Criterion
Yeah,
thing.
that's another one where when I say my favorite film noir, that's very much in the conversation as
Mhm.
well. Fantastic film. Has one of my
Um,
character intros of all time when they introduce Orson Welles' character. It's great. It's a great movie. It's a great
yeah.
talk about cuckoo clock set in the Ferris wheel. Wonderful stuff.
Yes. Awesome. Like just great corridor sewer scene, like stuff like that.
Oh,
Like it is.
lighting movies are doing incredible.
Yeah.
Great
Uh,
zither score. You don't get a lot of zither scores in movies these days, so that's one to really recognize as well.
right. My thing here is so I'll run through like what I had left that was in consideration, but I didn't say Truffaut anything. There's a lot of Truffaut, Godard, and then like I never have owned this movie. Surprisingly, I've always been like, yeah, I need to pick that one up, but it is very much Repo Man is very much
Oh, the Repo
oh
Man? Oh my
yeah,
God.
that's Criterion. Black Narcissus always like thought of with Criterion. Um, Paths of Glory, but now Kino took that one up. That felt wrong when all those Kubrick four that got Blu-rays with uh those that was when I had the Last Picture Show. That's been a staple. So on Blu-ray it was in a box set. The like Americana one with Easy Rider.
This thing.
Yeah. Yep.
All these. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but it was on DVD, it
All
was
that.
on Laserdisc, and then like 4K it came back, and they added the sequel, the TV movie sequel there, which was a nice touch. Um, Shampoo, that one, pretty solid. Great Escape, which here come old Kino snatching up those Criterions, because Criterion's trying to go, they're trying to not just replace everything. And they're trying to go in new directions, but also at the same time they're getting swiped up with things they haven't done already. Breathless, I had Belle de Jour and the Umbrellas of Cherbourg were and Sex Lies and Videotape. Those were the ones I had on there that were in consideration towards the end. I had more before that, and I didn't go there. So,
The main ones that I knew I wasn't going to get to, but would be Krzysztof Kieslowski's Three Colors trilogy, one of the
oh yeah,
best.
yep, that is yeah.
That's just ultimate Criterion stuff in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I think of Criterion, the Three Colors trilogy is an easy association right
Yep.
there. Picnic at Hanging Rock is another one. Just
World on a Wire, that TV, it's like a Russian TV miniseries, right? Or is it from Russia? Or
yeah, I think so.
yeah,
We didn't mention any Tarkovsky, but Solaris is
Solaris only was Blu-ray though. I don't think they haven't put it out on 4K, and I don't think they put it on DVD. They know they didn't put it on Laserdisc, but yeah. So
even then. I'm just happy that Solaris is just
that disc, yeah, it's a good disc.
when if I was to say, wonder where Solaris is, I'd be like, I would assume Criterion would make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Like,
they did Solaris and Stalker, and then like
yeah.
Kino has had nostalgia. Oh,
And they, the
they did
Decalogue.
the Decalogue. Yeah, oh yeah, the Decalogue. Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, it's just a lot of stuff. And a lot of Scorsese's been entering the catalog in recent. They have the Scorsese shorts. They've done Meat Streets, Raging Bull.
After Hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Irishman.
After Hours, Irishman. The what's the one that just came to 4K? I can't think of it. The period piece. Age of Innocence. That was
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Um, The
Yeah.
Last Temptation of Christ. That was like one of the earliest.
One of the early ones. Yeah, that's the early one.
Yeah.
It's in there somewhere. But yeah, the Jacques Tati said, the John Cassavetes movies, of
Yep.
course. The other two discs I picked up, Kaidan,
Mhm.
Japanese anthology horror film, 3 hours. one of the most beautiful films ever made. It's
That
such a
is no, you're right. Yeah.
color and everything. Like we talked about on the summer of 2004 20, we talked about Hero, which is also again one of the greatest like one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen.
Hmm.
It's like in that kind of realm as far as like what it's doing with characters and their costuming and their movements or what have you. Kaidon's very much has a lot of similarities in that regard. The other film you mentioned Sex Lies Videotape. I mentioned Traffic from Steven Soderbergh.
Yep. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Another one of the earliest releases I bought back in the day. This is what
It's got
number 151.
Soderbergh's got what, Che on there?
He's got Che. He's got a lot. He's got
Yeah.
Che, Sex Lies, King of the Hill, which we talked about.
Yep.
Um, is that it for now? Or no, there might be some more.
And then a lot. I didn't
He's that one.
mention.
What's it called? The Spalding Gray thing that you did. That's on there as well.
Oh, okay. There's also a lot of we didn't mention any David Lynch, and I'm a huge Lynch fan, but I feel like all those are like just been introduced into the Criterion Collection
I
and
think maybe
haven't been there. Like Eraserhead Blu-ray was his first one. You'd think it'd have been there the whole time. Nope. Just Blu-ray. And like he's been like Lost Highway just came on there. Mulholland Drive's been on there twice now. So there's that one. But Inland Empire once.
I mean,
Yeah, Blue Velvet's been a couple times, but
Criterion's clearly like they're Lynch fans. They just
he's the Criterion fan because Kino got Lost Highway and he nixed them doing a new transfer. He nixed them doing a lot of stuff because he was like he wanted it to be Criterion, and then
I want this label.
I what? Why are you doing like that? And you know what? Like there, like Spielberg has no Criterion.
Not
That'd
yet.
be not yet. It'd be neat to see something with him. Like I feel like Sugarland Express would have been ripe for it, but or something like that. But nope.
What would you pick as the Spielberg? Like
Like I
Jaws.
said, Sugarland Express. It's one that is like underappreciated, under the radar. Add some bonus features and stuff to it. Look back at Goldie Hawn back for an interview.
Criterion likes to do like early director works in
Yeah,
there for sure. That's yeah. I mean, I could see an argument for like Close Encounters because like you don't do
that's
Jaws.
already got so much to it though. Like
That doesn't stop. But look at Citizen Kane. I mean,
yeah,
like
yeah, it's true.
like that's not a disqualifier. I know what you're saying.
Right. Empire of the Sun. That's been out of print in the United States for quite a while. That could go. That feels like something. During a weird period. That's probably his best film in that stretch, probably. From like Temple of Doom to Jurassic Park slash
Wait,
Schindler's List. Well, there's Last Crusade in there, but that's the outlier. Maybe.
anyway,
Oh no, it was color purple. But yeah, but that
or you get more modern, and it's like Munich because I love
yeah,
that.
Munich would be great. I'd take that any day of the week. But no, I would say Sugarland is probably fits that Criterion type mold. But
They did that. It'd be cool to like do it with like his like short like Amblin and his shorts that
mhm.
the rarely seen short films that he's made.
I'd love to see like John Carpenter's early shorts and college films get a release, but that's more I feel like Scream Factory should be doing that.
No,
Since their goal is to have every Carpenter film ever released on, but except they just can't get Christine. They just can't get Christine.
They'll pick up Dark Star.
Right.
You can put the
Yeah.
shorts with. We didn't mention Del Toro, but Del Toro's there.
Oh yeah. Pinocchio's first release was there.
Pan's Labyrinth, Devil's Backbone,
Mhm.
Chronos, Shape of Water's coming this month. I mean, it's,
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
I'm sure Criterion Mimic will come along any day now. We'll see.
Yeah. There's a lot. Yeah. There's so much.
Yeah, there's plenty of directors we're not mentioning that are big in Criterion.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they have over 1,200 titles at this point. Like they're up there.
They've got a lot, and we're all like focusing here on a lot of United States titles too, and there's international ones that you and I don't even think of that are going to get this release, and we'll be like, I want that.
We had a good, healthy mix of international titles.
Yeah.
With our,
No, we did. I mean, we showed what like Criterion is, like black and white, color, different eras, different countries. Yeah. But yeah, that's which I want to say like the Agnes Varda box set that came out, new favorite film of mine in there, Cleo 9 to 5. I really like that thing. Right up there. Yeah, that was one. I haven't finished that set, but that one has been a real standout. I really like that that movie
So the
quite a bit.
Chantal Ackerman set is pretty solid
Mhm.
for obvious reasons, but I like that the films go from like 20-minute shorts to all 4 hours of Jean Dielman. Like
Yes.
there's plenty of movie within this little package.
Yeah, the Varda set's really crazy because there's all sorts of like documentaries and then films on there, and then it's a whirlwind. And the
You could really
Bergman box set.
knock somebody out, too. That's the other
What?
thing. You could really knock somebody out with that set. Like if somebody came to try to steal your Criterions, you grab that Agnes Varda one,
Right.
take them out in one swing.
The Bergman set's great because it's like they set it up like a film festival and they pair movies together rather than doing it in order. So
Yeah. It's really cool.
very cool stuff. So all right, Aaron. Well, that'll do. Thank you for combining with me to like collate a list and stuff together. And it's silly, but it's fun for to do and maybe fun for you to listen.
I had
So-
a great time doing this. Thanks for inviting me to
Okay,
this.
yeah. I was like, I got an assignment. Only you can do it. There we go. So where can people keep up with you during this time?
Well, I talk about Godzilla and all kinds of things over on the podcast I host Out Now with Aaron and Abe. My friend Abe and I discuss weekly movie releases, and we do a lot of fun bonus episodes as well. We just got through the month of October where you were along with us to talk about a lot of different horror-themed topics, and then we do commentaries every month and all that. So all that you can find everywhere you can find podcasts. I am the editor-in-chief at WeLiveEntertainment.com, where you do all my movie reviews. I write Blu-ray and Criterion reviews over at whysoblue.com. I should really write something for one of these Criterions I have. Happiness sitting around and I haven't written anything on it yet. And I'm on all the socials at Aaron's PS4.
All right. And I'm on socials at Brandon 4K UHD. If you like the 4K and Blue Talk, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for the show so you can keep up with my individual reviews and unboxings. Oh, I hate that. No, it's fun. But thank you for listening. And as always, stay film positive.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.